Found out wife cheated on me 6 years ago, and daughter may not be mine. To understand the backstory, I have to start at the beginning. About 6 years ago, my wife and I were having a rocky time in our relationship. We had no kids and we were living together, but struggled to get out of the rut. We had been together for 6 years, married 2 of them. Well, she started having an affair with a guy we work with, albeit her more often as they worked in the same department. Well, I had a feeling something was up, but I ignored those feelings. While using her phone to locate mine, a text came across that forced me to investigate. They were lewd pictures from and to the guy from work. The guy in question had already been transferred to another location for work at this time, but I confronted my wife and long story short, I forgave her through many painful, expensive hours at a couples therapist. Shortly thereafter, everything was great. Our relationship hit a level that far exceeded anywhere it was before. And dare I say we were truly happy. 2 pink lines later, we were having a baby. Doing the math from the due date, I deduced that her conception was approximately 2/3 weeks after he left. I still confronted her about it, and she swore up and down that while they cheated emotionally, nothing ever manifested in the physical. I didn't truly believe her, but I wanted to. Shortly after the birth of my daughter, I asked her again as I wanted to be sure, and she vehemently denied having sex with him. I wanted to get the paternity test, but she was 6 months old and I didn't know how I would handle it if she wasn't, so I decided to drop it. 5 years later, when we were drinking one night, she let some information slip that was contrary to what she told me. But through prying, I got her to admit that not only did she sleep with that guy, she did it multiple times and didn't use condoms every encounter. Here we are 3 kids later, and I find out my oldest may not be mine. I can tell when she is lying, so when asked about the other 2, I'm sure they are mine. I'm over the cheating that happened 6 years ago, because deep down I knew it happened, so the confirmation doesn't upset me, but what do I do with the new information? In a huff, I ordered a paternity test, but I don't know if I want to do it. I love my daughter, and no biological marker could change that, but I don't know how to handle the unknown. I mean, if I go through with the paternity test and she is mine, I would have a weight lifted off my chest, but what if she isn't? Is the not knowing going to help me cope, or would the definitive answer be the best way? I would appreciate any advice I could get. Story 2. I suspect I was cheated on. Need advice/second opinion. A bit of a backstory. My fiancé comes from a Christian family. We started our relationship 2 years ago in a very normal way, both very attracted to each other, great sex frequently, dates, etc. I eventually proposed and she moved in with me around 3 months ago. We set a wedding date of sometime in 2023. After moving in with me, she said she started feeling guilty about having sex before marriage and proposed that we get officially married, just the legal paperwork, ASAP, while still having the proposed wedding in 2023. That threw me off, but I put myself in her shoes and understood, so we agreed to do it. The night before we were supposed to get legally married, she brought up that she feels anxious about it and she doesn't think she's ready yet since she's so young. Again, it threw me off a little bit, but I understood and didn't think much of it afterwards. Here comes the day, about 1.5 weeks after we decided not to get married yet, where I left work and called her, but she didn't respond. Earlier that day she said she was going to have a personal day since she was off and I was at work, so I didn't think much of it, thinking she's out and about. After 30 minutes, still no call back, unusual, so I started worrying that something happened. I call her one more time, and again, she doesn't respond. I then check her location, and it shows she's at a random house. We started sharing locations around the beginning of our relationship for safety because she has a fear of being kidnapped. The location was updating live. It's not like she didn't have signal where the phone shows a wide circle with a general area. She calls me back right after I called her the second time, and I jokingly asked if she got kidnapped. She sounded weird on the phone and didn't give me many details, but said she's at a shopping mall about to leave and come home, and when I tried to talk more she said she couldn't hear me anymore. But I was hearing her just fine, so we ended the call. Her location was still showing she's at the house, and 5 minutes later when I checked it again the location was showing her driving towards home from a location that's opposite of where she said she was, but also on the route she have to take to drive home from that house. The location was updating live, and it literally showed her driving down the road. My gut feeling started kicking in. When she got home, she went right to the shower, very unusual. I did notice her bodysuit was unbuttoned through her pants. She got out of the shower and went in bed saying she had a headache. She acted off, so I tried talking to her and noticed she smells like alcohol, which she denied. I let her rest since she had a headache and tried to go to sleep as well, but I couldn't fall asleep because my gut feeling was off the charts to the point where I started thinking she cheated on me, so I played different scenarios in my head. An idea came to me that if she cheated, her panties would be wet. So I checked the clothes basket and sure enough they were very wet. At this point I came back to the bedroom, woke her up, and told her about my worries, phone calls, bodysuit, shower right away, wet panties. She ignored my bodysuit comment and said the wetness was because of discharge, which is a valid point. The conversation was still off, and I let it go because she said she had a headache and was sleepy. Couldn't sleep all night. I told myself I will talk to her in the morning, and if stuff still doesn't add up, I will break up with her. In the morning, I resumed the conversation and asked her to tell me the truth since things weren't adding up. Asked her to tell me where she was, because what she was saying didn't match the location I saw, but she kept saying she was at the mall. At that point, I told her we're breaking up and to pack her stuff. She went to the bedroom and after a while she asked to talk about it. She then told me she actually drank that night, but didn't want to tell me because I would get upset for her drinking and driving, begged me to not break up with her and that she loves me so I didn't. We talked through all the things I noticed. Said earlier that day before the mall she went to a coffee shop by herself and got some beers. This is very unusual for her. Her bodysuit was unbuttoned because she went to pee and was too drunk to button it back. She went straight to the shower when she got home to try to get the alcohol smell out of her. Panties were wet because of discharge. Location was a bug, and she was actually at the mall when we talked on the phone. I want to trust her, but my gut feeling is still off. I posted this here because I need other opinions. If I were to trust her, all those things would add up. But should I trust my gut feeling or her? What do you all think? I think your gut is telling you that something is afoot, and I agree. Were you able to pinpoint the area she was at? What for her to turn off location sharing? If she does, then you know. IOP, you had her too much time to invent a story that adds up. So now, you have two options. 1. Dump her right away. 2. If she cheated on you, she is a cheater and cheaters don't cheat only once. They cheat till you let them do it. So time to put you on pie mode. So what do you think is more likely, that the GPS coordination was off or had a bug, or that after all the lies, she just confessed to those that she told you enough so that you wouldn't leave? If she cheated is something only she knows, but I bet that she is still lying. OP, she is manipulating you. She is cheating and lies. But at the same time, she wants to keep you around just in case the AP turns south. You know what you must do, but you just keep fooling yourself. You can keep her around knowing she will cheat and cheat. Eventually she get an STD or pregnant. Then what? I think you are hoping that someone here will say her story makes sense. But her story wouldn't make sense to anyone. If she's sorry, she should tell the truth. If she doesn't tell the truth, she is not sorry and will do it again.